All right, y'all, we give praise, esteem, and unto the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you, the Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Yahudah in the name of Yahushua. Let's come over here to Psalm 78. Shalom, brother Brent. Psalm 78 and 67. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Yahudah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built the sanctuary like the earth which he established, shalom, man, forever. He chose David also his servant and took him from the sheepfolds. When following the youths great were young, brought him to feed Jacob his people and Yasharal his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. Oh, praise you, Lord. Praise you, Lord. Let's turn over here to Stanley mentioned something I almost forgot all about, little buddy. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at him right about now. So let's come over here to 2 Kings chapter 23. Second Kings chapter 23, verse 28. Now, the rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Maliks of Yahudah in the days of Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates. And King Josiah went against him, and he slew him at Megiddo, where he had seen him. And the servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddo, and brought him down to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Joaz, the son of Josiah, and anointed him, and made him king in his father's stead. Joaz was 23 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 3 months in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He did that which was evil in the sight of Yahudah, according to all that his fathers had done. Pharaoh Necho put him in bands at Riblah in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem. And he put the land in tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in the room of Josiah, his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Joaz away, and he came to Mizraim and died. Shalom, young man, shalom. So we're looking at Eliakim. That originally means Elohim raises or Elohim sets up. Now, just to keep this in mind, that this particular king was not placed upon the throne by Yahudah or in proper royal succession, but by a Gentile. And of course, his name being changed to Jehoiakim means Elohim raises up as well. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all know who Jehoiakim is and why we're even talking about him? Who doesn't know who he is? Just so I know who doesn't know who this man is, because we're about to talk about him for a hot little second. And then we're going to move on, because it's important that we mention him. Who doesn't know who that is? Who doesn't know who? Well, it looks like everybody knows who he is. So I wager that's a good thing. So that means we good. So very well. Jehoiakim. I wager you don't know, baby. It's okay. But we don't talk about it much. Don't really talk about him at all. But he does have an important stake. Yes, ma'am. Well, let's say continue. This is a king of of Israel, and you're about to see what type of king he was, for that matter. 24:1 of 2 Kings. In the days of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up. Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years, and he turned and rebelled against him. Yahudah sent against him band of Chaldees and a band of Syrians and a band of Moabites and the bands of the sons of Ammon. Yes, this same king who we just read about is starting his story in 2 Kings 23. And sent them against Yahudah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahudah, which he spake by his servants, the prophets. Let me ask y'all this question. You got two ways that you can answer that. One of them is answered in 2 Kings. But why would Yahudah tax Jehoiakim for rebelling against Nebuchadnezzar? Why would he come at him so fiercely because of this? Who is aware of it? Why would he do this? Is any of you aware why he would do this? Nobody knows why Yahudah would tax Jehoiakim for rebelling against Nebuchadnezzar? Oh, no, it's not because of that. Not because of that. But mainly you have to remember that in the book of Jeremiah, he told you that everyone was going to be in subjection to Nebuchadnezzar. Exactly. He's supposed to have been in subjection to Nebuchadnezzar. We were all supposed to be under his yoke, and he would rule over everybody, as it was declared in also in the book of Daniel. Let's continue and look at verse 3 of 2 Kings chapter 20. Surely at the commandment of Yahudah came upon Yahudah to remove out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh, and according that all he did. Now, we didn't read about Manasseh. You have to read about Manasseh on your own time. Manasseh was wild, and he was wild indecently. And also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which Yahudah would not pardon. That's I said that's the second element, which is stated in here in the verse what I was referring to. You could go back in chapter 23 of 2 Kings and read about the things that Manasseh did. Matter of fact, let's just back it on up to chapter 23 and let's see where we can start at that, because I ain't gonna be able to see my starting point out of that. Oh, excuse me. I'm not saying what I want. Well, I ain't got to rush this evening because y'all ain't got nothing to do. You ain't got to go to work. And because all your kinfolk finna, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mentioned this here, what I'm looking for. There we go. Come over here to 2 Kings chapter 21. You can pick it up at verse 1. Man, I heard a couple brothers, man, trying to tell people like why it's all right for them to go to see their people on Thanksgiving or Christmas. Now, so I'm gonna tell you like this here, man. You don't try to use the word to make yourself feel better about going to do that. If you just want to go see your people, just say you want to go see your people. But I'll put it to you like this here, right? If your people came out of town for Thanksgiving, I guarantee you that they're not leaving out Friday. So if you really wanted to see them and you saying that you don't want to participate or be around that, then you would pull up to wherever they was at on Friday, or they'll come to see your house. See, this is the thing where you could tell that most of y'all people don't really fool with you in real life. Because if it's a burden for them to come see you where you stay, because you don't want to particularly participate in a feast and what they got going on, and you could only see them if you came over there on Thanksgiving Day, them people don't fool with you. You know what I'm saying? They don't fool with you at all. Because I guarantee you this here, if somebody really wanted to see your face, then they would make sure that they made their way to see your face if they had came from out of town. You already know if your people don't talk to you or see you the 11 month or the 364 days out the year, and you in the same city, and now all of a sudden they want to see you on Thanksgiving, you know damn well they don't fool with you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been for none of that. You know what I'm talking about? You live in the same city, and nigga talking about when I'm gonna see you, but you ain't want to see me that bad, because it would be a give and take. I could come to where you at, you could come to where I'm at. You only want me to see you when it's convenient for you. Them people don't fool with you. Not in the capacity that you think they do or you desire for them to do. Nigga really tried to use when the Syrian told Elisha after he had been converted and believed on Yahudah, he had to go back to the house of his God, and he compared that to if your family members called you to come to the house for Thanksgiving, comparing a king's servant being called to come before the king. Most ludicrous thing I ever seen. Most ludicrous thing I ever seen. You know what I'm talking about? Like, but you can't set people up like that. Just keep it a buck and say, man, I want to go see my people. You'll be better off doing that. You know what I'm saying? Another dude talking about, hey man, how you gonna be a light to your people? The Lord said, this nigga said, what would Yahushua do? Boy, you know you dead wrong for that. Nigga really said that. You know what I'm saying? You think the Lord finna sit down with people eating abominable feasts? See, that's the thing that people don't sit back and realize. Oh, he hung with sinners. Man, he went into people who he knew were already ordained for salvation to hit him off with that word. You think this man finna come in here where people is drinking, getting high, eating swine, and doing all that type of stuff, and you think he finna sit there? And it's not because he ain't gonna want to be amongst them people. He gonna be offended at the things going on around them, and he's not gonna sit there idly and just be like, oh, this is fine. Yeah, them boys over there bent on that yak. It's a big old ham in the middle of the table, and I'm cool with that. I came here to win a soul up out of that. That joint is about the stupidest nigga saying you can win souls in the club, man. That's just what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Just say that's what you want to do. I'm not going to ridicule you if you say, man, I'm going to see my people, bro. I don't celebrate that junk. I ain't finna eat no food, man. I want to just go see my people. That's your business. That's your business. If that rests well with your conscience, brother, then be peaceful and Godspeed, if they would, as some people like to say. But I ain't gonna tell you that, because I ain't gonna be a partaker in your evil deed. Because you ain't going over there because you want to see your people. You just put your people in certain other things before Yahuwah, and you just decide. And see what I'm saying, before Yahuwah, because some people tell you it's not a pagan holiday, and it very well may not be. And that ain't even the point. You ain't going over there to win no souls, nigga. You just gonna tell yourself that as a means to make yourself feel better, because you know full well them people ain't trying to hear no word. Them people trying to eat their food, drink their liquor, watch that football, and shoot the breeze. Them people don't want to hear that. I don't care how skillful or tactful you think you is. Them people don't want to hear that. And then on top of that, they can't hear it if Yahuwah don't give them an ear and a heart to hear it. That's the part of the game that we don't like to acknowledge. But 2 Kings chapter 21, let's talk about this here with Manasseh real quick. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hispah, and he did evil in the sight of Yahuwah after the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahuwah cast out before the sons of Yasharal. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his Abba had destroyed, and reared up altars for Baal, and made a grove, as did Ahab, Malach of Yasharal, and worshipped all the host of heaven and served them. He built altars for the house of Yahuwah, of which Yahuwah said, in Jerusalem will I put my name. He built altars for the host of heaven in the two courts of the house of Yahuwah. And he made his son pass through the fire, observed times, used enchantments, dealt with familiar ruachs and wizards. He worked much wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah to provoke to anger. He set a graven image in the grove that he made in the house, which Yahuwah said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house in Jerusalem, which I have chosen, all the tribes of Yasharal, will I put my name forever. Neither will I make the feet of Yasharal any more move out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they will observe and do according to all that I command them, according to all that law that my servant Moses commanded them. But they hearkened not. Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations which Yahuwah destroyed before the sons of Yasharal. And Yahuwah spake by his servants the prophets, saying, because Manasseh king of Yahudah have done these abominations, that have done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and have made Yahudah also to sin with his idols. Therefore thus saith Yahuwah, behold, bringing evil upon Jerusalem and Yahudah, that whosoever hear of it, both his ears shall tingle. And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as wipe a dish, wiping and turning upside down. Let's continue. I didn't read all of it and move on, so you can see why, another reason why he was going to come through and crack their heads over here in 2 Kings 24. I will forsake the remnant of my inheritance, deliver them in the hand of their enemies. They shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies, because they have done evil in my sight, have provoked me to anger since the day their fathers came forth out of Mizraim, even unto this day. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another, besides his sin wherewith he made Yahudah to sin, and doing evil in the sight of Yahuwah. Now, when you look at shedding innocent blood, you know what the law say about innocent blood. Do y'all know what the law say about innocent blood? Who knows what the law says about innocent blood? Who knows what the law says about innocent blood? Don't mention Proverbs chapter 6, because you're going to be incorrect. What does the law say about innocent blood? Oh, y'all don't know what the law say about innocent blood? Yes, sir. Very well, sir. Let's come over and look at Deuteronomy 19 and probably about verse 6. You got Deuteronomy 29 and 9. Oh, 21. I'm going to say, because that ain't it. Yeah, that's the other chapter, I believe, that's going to tell you about the innocent blood. Yeah, both are the same. So 19 and 6. Lest the avenger of blood pursue the slayer when his heart is hot. Oh, yeah, it tells you that in Exodus 23. When we're going to look at the specifics of what happens when innocent blood is in the land. Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer when his heart is hot and overtake him because the way is long, and slay him where he's not worthy of death, insomuch as he hated him not in times past. Wherefore I commanded you, saying, you shall separate 3 cities for you. And if Yahudah your Elohim enlarge your coast, if he has sworn unto your fathers, and give you all the land which he promised to give unto your fathers, if you shall keep all these commandments to do them, which I command you this day, to love Yahudah your Elohim, and to walk ever in his ways, then you shall add 3 more cities for you, besides these 3. That innocent blood be not shed in your land, which Yahudah your Elohim give you for an inheritance, so blood be upon you. If a man hate his neighbor, and he lie in wait and rise up against him and smite him mortally that he die, and flee unto one of these cities, then the elder of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him, but you shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Yasharal, that it may go well with you. See, it's something that our people don't understand. When you shed innocent blood in the land, and that blood wasn't atoned for, that it would have a negative connotation for the entire house of Yasharal, not just the person who shed it. Can't have innocent blood in the land, because then the land is defiled. You have innocent blood. Now, see, I don't want y'all to take that and say that refer to this place, because it's don't refer to this place. If you try to refer to this place, you're going to be out of pocket. We can get to Deuteronomy 21. You can pick it up at verse 5. It's just got some different words. I want you to understand that. That doesn't apply to America. You can't take precepts that apply to a certain location and then apply it somewhere else. See, America is filled up a lot, and not just America, but the entire world. See, and again, I'm just going to make this clear, just because we had the opportunity to mention it, because you had the Arbery verdict today. That's not innocent blood. It might be innocent on how you look at it, but that's not innocent blood how Yahudah looks at it. You have to make sure you know the difference. Matter of fact, let me ask y'all, do you know the difference? Now, if you look at it in the aspect of, was he committing a sin at the moment that he was slayed? Because let me get you this word for innocent blood, so you can understand what I know. Y'all know what blood is. That's dumb. When you have innocent here, you have naki, noon, kuf, and yah. That's clean. That's free. That's exempt. That's innocent. Free from punishment. Free or exempt from obligations. What is that obligation? That obligation would be death. Innocent. Also used for guiltless, blameless. That's what that means. I mean, you're not at fault. If you was going to look at it in the strict definition, did they shed innocent blood on that matter? Yes, they did. Now, and as far as man's law is concerned, that's innocent blood. But as far as Yahuwah's law is concerned, that's another conversation. That's another conversation. Reason why I say it's another conversation, because sometimes you see people that what you might believe be innocent blood, and Yahuwah be coming to execute vengeance on a man's head for some works that you know not that he has committed. And sometimes, hey man, shoot, you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, because Ecclesiastes tell you that time and chance happens to us all. You know what I'm saying? You also have that element too, because I'm just not going to want you to sit back and say, well, he got killed because he was a sinner. You know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's just time and chance. Sometimes they sit back and you just an individual who blood gets shed so that that person there can reap judgment for themselves later on down the line. It's a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it's not black and white and cut and dry while somebody loses their life. But just know he said that he will never justify the righteous over the wicked. And that's why he says that he abominably hates the shedding of innocent blood. Remember, that's what Jeremiah told them people. He said, if you kill me, then guess what? You're going to have my blood on your hands because I ain't did nothing worthy of death. See, that's a hard pill to swallow because look here, right? Because that's what some people will hit you with. You don't know how he was living. One thing for certain and two things for sure. If that man was a servant of Yahudah, somebody in his family would have declared that by now. Same way Tavon put in the chat, the person got the bumper sticker on their window, Yahudah is my king, Yahuwah's name in Hebrew. If something happened to that person, I guarantee you it was people who would know them that would declare that this person was a servant of Yahudah. And you ain't gonna be no servant of Yahudah and don't nobody know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be somebody who's going to vouch for you. That's how Yahudah operates. And I done told y'all that numerous times. It's a lot of stuff that happened, and you don't never hear nothing happening to people who actually serve Yahudah. This type of stuff doesn't happen to them. Why would he allow that to happen to you? That's not going to bring any esteem to his name. Indeed, that's not going to bring any esteem to his name. Now, of course, I seen the tapes of that a long time ago, and Jit did what he was supposed to do. You gonna run up on me with some fire, and I don't know who you is. He hit the people in the mouth. That's why they shot him, because he put them hands on him. You know what I'm talking about? They ran up on him with that rally car, put them hands on him. And even after he got hit, he still kept putting hands on him until he ran out of strength. He put them hands on him. He ain't did nothing wrong. You can't run up on nobody with no fire and don't think the people ain't gonna put no hands on you, man. That would be wrong with people, man. Y'all go bothering people, you know what I'm talking about, and think somebody gonna take that junk. Jit wasn't gonna take it. He put them hammers on. It cost him his life, but I understand. Deuteronomy 21:5. And the priests of the sons of Levi shall come near for them, Yahuwah your Elohim have chosen to minister unto him in the name of Yahuwah, and by thy word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried. So those who and see, that goes back to that 1 Corinthians chapter 6. You know what I'm talking about? When there's controversies or matters, that's not supposed to go to the priests, i.e., or those who are in the ministry to be able to judge those matters and to handle those matters. Of course, you know, controversy is a word for strife and contention. And stroke is nagah, and of course, that's plague, disease, mark, or wound. They're going to judge every controversy, and they're going to judge every wound. Tried is not there. All the elders of the city, next to the slain, shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. That's another reason why you seen Pilate washing his hands. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I ain't seen this. I don't know nothing about it. Be merciful, Yahuwah, unto your people, Yasharal, whom you have redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto your people, Yasharal's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. When innocent blood is shed in the land of Yasharal, and no one is to gives account, then everyone must suffer the consequence of the innocent blood that is shed. See, let's take a look at something law-wise again. You can hold Deuteronomy 21. Y'all know the rest. Y'all know where we finna go. Genesis chapter 9. Genesis chapter 9. From Genesis chapter 9, I had something in my mind that slipped out. 9 and 6, if you would. Make it real quick. You can make it 9 and 4. Shoot, 9 and 3. Genesis 9 and 3. Every moving thing that lives shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is in the blood thereof, you shall not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheds man blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of Elohim made he man. See, you can't shed innocent blood because somebody gonna have to shed your blood. And if you decide to, see, this is the thing, right? Let me put it to you this way. Because I know a lot of black people get upset about it. They be like, they shouldn't have this stop snitching thing. You got to understand, those are criminals. Why are you expecting criminals to live by ethical standards when they're already living criminally? They're not making any sense. They're criminals for a reason. So no, they're not going to tell. They live by a different code of things. But when you're living in the house of Yasharal, if you're in the land and everybody is supposed to be in covenant with Yahudah, and you knew somebody slayed somebody and you covered that up, then you would be just as guilty as shedding that innocent blood, and you could cause the sword of Yahudah to come through and sweep through the land, and many people lose their life because of it. And that's what you're seeing with Manasseh, because Manasseh shed innocent blood throughout the land, and that was not avenged for, then the whole land was going to suffer it because they knew it and they allowed it. Let's come over here to Exodus 23. Exodus 23 and 7. I mentioned it earlier. We're just getting it right now. Keep you far from a false matter, and the innocent and the righteous slay you not. I will not justify the wicked. He's not going to make the righteous wicked. I mean, the wicked righteous. He's not going to deem that what they're doing is acceptable over a righteous man. Now, you see it in Genesis 9. You're looking at Deuteronomy 21. You see in Exodus. Let's come over here and let's go over here to Matthew 27. I mentioned what Pilate did, so we're going to look at it right now. Matthew 27 and 19. And when he was sat down on the judgment seat, his wife said unto him, saying, have you nothing to do with that just man? I suffered many things this day in a dream because of it. The chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Yahushua. The governor said unto them, whither of the twain will you that I release unto you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said unto them, what shall I do then with Yahushua, which is called Mashiach? They said, all say unto him, let him be crucified. The governor said, why, what evil have he done? They cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather atonement was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See you to it. Then answered all the people and said, his blood be upon us and upon our sons. So now he said, I'm exempt from this blood. Now let's go to John 19 and let's see if they shed the blood of this innocent man in his land. Another brother I know, man, and he asked the question, he said, why do the gangbangers get more respect in the hood than an Israelite? I said, they always going to get more respect. I understand his point. So I'm mentioning this here because you see these people slay Yahudah himself and had no respect for him. They had the people had more respect for the people trying to kill him than the man who they killed. And this is one of the biggest problems with most of our people who are in the word. You think that the average everyday person give a damn about Yahudah, and you sadly mistaken. See, I know people don't like to hear it, but it's the reality of the matter. Mass majority of the people walking the earth hate Yahudah. They hate what he stands for. They hate his rules and regulations. They hate the standard that he holds. You cannot serve Yahudah and live and do anything and everything that you want. And you think people desire to be a part of that because you do, and you lying to yourself. You got men out here, they killers, and they warped in the heart. But you want to believe that they want to sit back, and I get it, I understand. You want to come in, you want to save your people, and you want to make this utopian paradise. You didn't have a utopian paradise in your own land. So what makes you think you're going to have it in a strange land? Your people were shedding innocent blood in the land. You do know this. Your people were committing adultery in the land. You do know this. Your people were committing idolatry in the land. You do know this. Why do you think you here? You think you here because you were righteous when you had Yahudah at your beck and call in the land which he gave to your forefathers? And you think it's going to be any different somewhere else? You think wickedness is just going to dissipate because you found out who you was by blood? You living in a fantasy land. You can't talk about women being delusional because that's the epitome of being delusional. As a man, you just have to understand that this ain't for everybody. Everybody don't have a heart for it, and everybody ain't called for it. Meaning he ain't open their heart for it. But this man don't want all these people out here. A lot of these people are very, very evil, and not evil in the aspect of what you think I'm referring to. They disagreeable because they despise the man. They despise him. They despise everything that he stands for. As is correct, they chose Barabbas. These people chose a murderer over Elohim. And you think it's going to be any different now? They chose a murderer over Elohim. Come on, man. The text tell you that the son of the devil, the son of Satan, is going to sit down and teach those who are going to forsake the word of Yahudah. And you think that's going to change right now? You can't entice these people who are out here fulfilling their desires to say, come and restrict your desires and come serve the living Elohim and save your soul from death. Man, the people ain't trying to hear that. The people not trying to hear that. Because it's easier to serve your flesh than it is to serve the Ruach. That's why he say, man, watch and pray. For the Ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's why he tell you that. Most people fall victim to their desires and their emotions regularly. Regularly. That's why so many people, especially in America, because I can't speak for nobody else, no other country else, that's why they live in a constant state of misery. Constant state of misery. Because their flesh and their desires are not being fulfilled at the rate that they would like it. Why you think all these niggas out here getting hot, man? Everybody out here just ain't no druggie and no drunk. Why you think all these people like to get drunk? Why you think these people want to party all the time and have fun? Do you have to realize that as a grown man or woman, that if all you do to desire to have fun, that means you're in a perpetual state of childhood? If you're constantly thinking about how you can have fun, how can you even sit back and say that you're a functional and rational adult who's even primed and prepped and prepared to raise a generation of offspring when you still want to have fun? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's all we talk about. I want to have some fun. Nigga, you're not 9. You're not a child, nigga. What you want to have fun for all the time? You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you got to become a man and you have to become a woman and understand it's about something greater than you. It's the legacy that you're going to leave behind. But we don't think about those things because we're a selfish group of people. You're only thinking about yourself. So since you're only thinking about yourself, those things don't matter as long as I'm gratified. That's what the problem that we have. We don't have a generation of servants. Our children and our women definitely don't desire to serve. They don't desire to serve anyone. Our men don't desire to serve Elohim, so therefore they're not going to have a desire to serve one another. And you think because you come in there with some fringes on and an outfit talking about we the people of Yahudah, you think they're going to care about that? You think they're going to care about that? Don't you realize when you come into people and you telling them they got to serve Yahudah, they got to get their whole life up? And people don't want to get their life up because they feel like what they have is greater than what's coming. But they don't realize what they have is not giving them anything. But people human beings, they don't like change. They like to hold on to what they know, even though what they know wasn't what they desired. But I know that. So why do you think dudes don't stop selling dope? They don't want to make no change. Selling dope is all they know. Being in the street is all they know. You know what I'm saying? Looking to something different, that's a scary, scary vantage point. So that's when people begin to think about the worst case scenario. What if it don't work? What if it ain't real? What if it, all that type of stuff, because you're really fearful on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Ben's like this here, man. Jay Ben put it like this here, man. You still around here talking about you got a whole lot to lose and nothing to gain. That's what you still singing? Come on, man. Man already told you that. The lose is gain, but you don't want to lose. That's why you don't gain. You don't want to make the sacrifice, so you ain't going to get nothing. That's why people don't get nothing, because you don't want to do nothing. You don't want to sacrifice nothing, so you don't get nothing. So a lot of people going to be looking crazy on the last day when the books is open and they don't get nothing. And they're going to be wondering why. Nevertheless, John 19, y'all know what verse we need. 34, we get straight to the point. But one of the soldiers with the spear pierced his side, and forthwith came there out blood and water. So now there's the completion of shedding of innocent blood. Of course, he gave up the Ruach by this point. So now we come to Revelation chapter 1, which is showing you, taking us back to what Yahudah himself is going to do to the land. And the 2 Kings 24, where we began at. Revelation chapter 1 says this. Verse 7, we get straight to the point. Behold, he come with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Because they shed that man's innocent blood, and that man's innocent blood was not purged. Matter of fact, I forgot a spot. Praise Yahudah. Came right back to mind. Come over here to Isaiah chapter 4. Y'all remember it. You've been around long enough. You remember what it say. Isaiah 4 and 3. See, they shed that man innocent blood in that land, and that blood ain't been purged. That means that land defiled. That means people got to die before he can even dare step foot in there and set up any type of authority or kingdom in there. That blood has to be atoned for. That blood has to be atoned for. That's why he's gathering everybody back to Jerusalem for that battle. That's why he's bringing them back over there, because his blood must be avenged. That innocent blood has to be atoned for in that city. That's the law. That's what it's got to be. There's no way around that. Isaiah 4 and 3. And it shall come to pass that is left in Zion and remain in Jerusalem shall be called Kadash, everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the Ruach of judgment and by the Ruach of burning. So you already know that he's coming back in righteousness to judge and to make war, and he's coming back with fire. That blood has to be purged, aka kafar. That blood has to be atoned for. Come on back over here to Deuteronomy 21. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Deuteronomy 21. I read verse 8 again. Be merciful, O Yahudah, unto your people whom you have redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto your people, Yasharal's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them. You just seen that when they're with everyone that is written in the living in Jerusalem. That won't be held to their charge, because they have been redeemed. Let's continue. So shall you put away innocent blood from among you when you do right in the sight of Yahudah. So that's the only way that, and that's when you look at yourself specifically. That's the only way innocent blood is going to be removed from you. You're going to have to do that which is righteous in the eyesight of Yahudah. That's what's righteous in your eyesight. Let's come over here to 2 Kings 24 yet again. We start at verse 5. We in verse 6. So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Joachim his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Mizraim came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken from the river of Egypt unto the river Euphrates all that pertained to the king of Egypt. Come over here to the book of Jeremiah. To the book of Jeremiah, because we done got just a little stage of you knowing who that is. And then we're going to back up to this spot because it could get a little confusing with him. Jeremiah 22 and 18. If you don't know, Jehoiakim was a very evil and wicked man. 22 and 13, if you would. Matter of fact, make it 11. So Yahudah pronounced a curse upon Jehoiakim. That's what we're talking about. I'm gonna say I almost neglected him. When Stanley mentioned him Sunday, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to do it almost because he's relevant. Because and I haven't heard of been around nobody who don't believe in Mashiach in so long, or not been around, but conversed with one in so long in regards to them trying to disqualify Yahushua from being king because of Jehoiakim. And the text is very plain. Jehoiakim is no factor in regards to disqualifying Yahushua. So let's continue. 22 and 11 of the book of Jeremiah. For thus saith Yahuwah touching Shalom, the son of Josiah, Malach of Yahudah, which reigned instead of Josiah his father, went forth out of his place. He shall not return thither any more. He shall die in the place whither they led him captive. He shall see this land no more. Woe unto him that build his house by unrighteousness and his chambers by wrong, that use his neighbor's service without wages and give him not for his work. Always remember this here. If somebody done did work for you, you better pay him. That's in your law. That man cry for his wages. That man said that's going to be a sin upon you, and that man going to come see you about that. That saith, I will build me a wide house and large chambers and cut him out windows, sealed with cedar, painted with vermilion. Shall you reign because you clothe yourself in cedar? Did not your father eat and drink and do judgment and justice? And then it was well with him. He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith Yahuwah? But your eyes and your heart are not but for your covetousness and for to shed innocent blood and for oppression and for violence to do it. I didn't want you to know. We can't take this and apply this to no other people. He was talking about your king and your ruler. He didn't care about nobody who was needing or wanting. He didn't care about anybody who was humble. He did not judge their cause, their manners, or nothing. All he cared about is what he wanted. See, I'm focusing on that because you can't turn around and say that these white folks do this and these white folks do that, and your rulers did it too, because it's not nothing about skin tone. It's about the heart of a man. This is one of the reasons why Yahushua told you, take heed and beware of covetousness, because a man's life does not consist of the abundance of things that he possesses. This is why Paul come back and tell you, hey man, be content with the things that you have, because covetousness leads to all manner of unrighteousness. Because as it stated, and I was talking to somebody, gave this information to somebody earlier this week. We know that, okay, they sat down, they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We know that they ate from the law. You know what I'm saying? They ate from the law. So when they ate from the law, like Paul stated in Romans 7, I would have not known lust unless you said that you shall not covet, because covetousness is rooted in lust. The things that you desire is rooted in your desires. You can desire good things and you can desire wrong things. And again, this is a simple fact. And again, what he just mentioned, he talking about the king. You understand? He talking about Shalom, the king. The king didn't give a damn about the people. That was not who David was. David wasn't a man of that type. Remember, he that ruleth amongst men must be just. He ain't just talking about anybody. He talking about the man who ruled over Yasharal. And he used his authority and power to oppress the people for his own gain. And you see that in a multitude of ways in these days and times. You see pastors and preachers do it. You see men do it. You see children do it. You see wives and women and girlfriends, or whatever you want to call it. They do it because everybody is out for what they want. And see, it's different. See, of course, y'all already know this. The law say a woman's desire should be to her husband. I mean, her desire is to fulfill his will. You are the wife of Yahushua. Your desire should be to fulfill his will and what benefits him. As long as we have the thought process of how somebody can benefit me, then we'll never have a community. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. There's no way that it can happen. That's why I say love doesn't seek her own. There's no way that that can happen. Because nobody is going to be operated in the way that Elohim wants us to operate, because everybody's going to be out for self. And when everybody is out for self, that's what you've seen in the land, because the king was that way. So, of course, the people are going to be that way. We've already had this conversation. If you serve the king going to serve you. That's how our law is set up. That's what he promised. That's what he said. That's how that works. Why do you think most people are not going to come to Yahuwah? Because they want him to serve them. But they're not going to serve him. They want the benefits of the king without serving the king. That's not how that works. You're not going to get eternal life or heaven or whatever you want to call it. He's not going to bless you. He's not going to give you any of these things because you do not serve him. Why would he do that? That's rewarding negative behavior. If he gives you what you want, that reinforces that your behavior and your lack of servitude is acceptable. Who does that? Nobody teaches like that. Nobody rewards negative conduct. You know what I'm talking about? You don't reward your children with negative conduct. So why would Yahuwah reward his own children with negative conduct? That doesn't make any sense. But that is the mind that we've convinced ourselves of. So when you go to somebody and you say, Elohim don't hear the prayers of sinners, ain't nobody trying to hear that. Because they're going to look at you and tell you, I got A, B, C, and D, and I prayed to God, and he answered my prayers, and he gave me this, and he gave me that. You think people just going to accept that? They're not going to accept that. They're not going to want to hear that. Before you even go to talking about, like, see, because most people, they going to come with the law. You a sinner, you did. Man, you ain't going to come with all that. Well, you're going to be looking people in the face and say, when you die, you're going to resurrect from the dead. Man, ain't nobody believing that. Ain't nobody trusting in this man's mercy and his love. Don't nobody have two people too selfish. They don't trust nobody. They trust themselves. So they're not going to trust this man. Even though they know nothing they've ever done has been successful. They're not going to trust this man. Your life ain't never going to be successful till you give yourself over to Yahuwah. It's not going to work. It's not going to work, but we don't believe that. I know many of you on here can give many a story about just from full commitment of Yahuwah of the things that you've been able to overcome. Not just, I was able to go here or buy this or any of that cornball type of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about, that you was here and now you're here. And that I'm talking about in a multitude of fashions in your life. I'm talking to the men specifically. And that was Yahuwah's doing, because I wouldn't have been able to do this by myself. I would not have been able to go from here to here. That's why that man tell you he could take a beggar from the dunghill and set him amongst kings. I'm talking about when you're going through a period where it don't look like it's going to get no better, but nevertheless, you're not concerned with that. You just focus on Yahuwah. You understand me? Everybody ain't looking for that because you're too selfish. We too desirous for our desires to be met instead of Yahuwah's desire. That's why he just said the blood will be shed when you do that which is, be purged when you do that which is right to Yahuwah. When you serve him and do what pleases him and do it with delight. We already talked about that with the confess. If you don't do it with the delight and willing heart, that man ain't even going to accept that. He's not even going to take it. And could you blame him? Just sit back, male or female, and put yourself in the thought process that you're a ruler over a dominion and you have servants. And your servants serve you out of obligation, not out of delight. You have one who does it out of delight, and you have one who does it out of obligation. So praise the Lord. Praise Yahuwah, Brother Harris. Let Yahuwah be esteemed. You know what I'm talking about? Which servant do you think that you're going to yield to the most? Are you going to yield to the one who does it because they don't want to be killed? Or are you going to do it, or are you going to yield to the one who does it because they delight to please you? Which servant you think going to get the most grace and mercy and get the most appeal? You got to sit back and look at that. I'm using that as a reference of people who be like, I just don't want to go to hell. Well, you still going to go. Because you ain't doing it from your heart. You think that man going to take that? You don't do it because it brings you joy. You do it because I have to. Nobody wants that. You're a horrible servant at that point because it's not in your heart to do it. That's what you see when you see him say they kept his commandments, but not with a perfect heart. It wasn't in their heart to do it. So when it's not in your heart to do it, eventually you're going to do evil because you don't have a desire. It doesn't bring you joy. You don't delight in doing it. That's why I tell you that keeping the Sabbath don't mean nothing if you don't delight to keep it. Keeping the feast day don't mean nothing if you don't delight to keep it. When it doesn't bring you delight, you give half. You give 50% butt crack service. That's what you give. And if any of you been to frequent restaurants, then y'all know y'all don't even tip servants who give you halfway service. You don't even want to leave them a tip. You don't want to leave them nothing. You complain and say, nah, you see this here, they ain't do this and they ain't do that. Now imagine you doing that to your husband. And I ain't talking about your husband that pay your earthly bills. You think he taking that? You dragging to come to the Sabbath. It don't mean nothing to you. It's not important. You don't delight to do it. Don't bring joy to your heart. How can you expect somebody to pour into you when you ain't willing to pour into them? That's insane. That is insane. You want Yahudah to pour his ruach into you, but you ain't willing to pour no service towards him. That is insane. You don't get rewarded for just showing up. That's our biggest problem of the house of Yasharal. And you think you finna go to the killers and the thugs and the dope boys and the whores and the junkies and pull them with that? With lukewarm faith and halfway service, you think you're going to bring them in with that? You just think because you sing and clap, you're going to bring the people in? But the people need some type of substance that they're going to be able to hold on to, or they not coming. Especially when you talk about people in the slums and in the street, because they're going to see through that. They're going to see you full of crap. They're not going to go for that. They're going to see the hustle and the scam. Jeremiah 22:18. Therefore, thus saith Yahudah concerning Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, the Malach of Yahudah, they shall not lament for him, ah, my brother, or ah, sister. They shall not lament for him, ah, Lord, or ah, his esteem. He shall be buried with the burial of an ass, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. Go up to Lebanon and cry, and lift up your voice in Bashan and cry for the passages, for all your lovers shall be destroyed. I speak unto you in your prosperity, but you said, I will not hear. This your manner from your youth. You have not obeyed my voice. The wind shall eat up all your pastors. Your lovers shall go into captivity. Surely you shall be ashamed and confounded for all your wickedness. You're reading about him now. O inhabitant of Lebanon, that make your nest in cedars, how gracious shall you be when pains come upon you, the pains of a woman in travail. As I live, saith Yahudah, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, Malach of Yahudah, were designated upon my right hand, yet will I pluck you thence, and I will give you into the hand of them that seek your life, into the hand of them whose face you fear, even into the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, into the hand of the Chaldeans. And I will cast you out and your mother that bare you into another country where you were not born, and there you shall die. But to the land where you desire to return, neither shall you return. Is this man Coniah despised, a broken idol? Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure? Wherefore are they cast out, he and his seed, and they are cast into a land which they know not. O earth, 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 hear the word of Yahudah. Thus saith Yahudah, write you this man childless. A man shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David, ruling anymore in Yahudah. This is what he said about Jehoiakim. This is why it's important for us to discuss Jehoiakim. Because he said, no man of the seed of Jehoiakim, and he mentioned his son, Coniah, would ever sit on the throne of Yahudah to reign ever again. I want you to come to Jeremiah 33, excuse me. I want you to come straight to Jeremiah 33. I want you to come right over here to verse 17 if you would. See, because a lot of people see Mashiach can't rule. Because he come from, Jehoiakim seed can't sit, so therefore he disqualified. See, that people, I be telling y'all, people don't really be reading the text. Now, I'm going to give you the point where God Stanley tripped up, and I can see how he got tripped up because the verses are right by each other, and it'll get you. You know what I'm talking about? See, now, it's something that I had already was aware of. But like I said, I'm glad he asked, because you're going to get a thorough explanation just in case, and not for the purpose of battling, but that if you hear somebody say, see, Yahushua can't sit on the throne because of Jehoiakim, you can know that you're talking to an unlearned and unread man. See, there's a difference when you're talking to a learned man and an unlearned man. Most brews are unlearned. They don't know the text. They know just enough to support their doctrine. See, that's the thing that you have to realize. Niggas only study the text to support the doctrine of which they purport versus studying the text to know and understand Yahuwah, that they may impart the understanding of Yahuwah unto others. There is a difference. That means a person has an agenda. See, we have no agenda around these parts. The agenda is to proclaim the goodness of Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach, and that people understand him. There is no agenda. There is no doctrine other than the doctrine of Yahuwah. What good is it that you spend years, days, weeks, months, decades, hours, and minutes studying a book and still don't understand it. Do you not understand how sad that is? It's sad because Yahudah didn't give you the inspiration. And if he didn't give you the inspiration, that means you set for degradation and damnation. And that ain't no way you want to be. That ain't no way you want to be. Jeremiah 32 and 17. You got to understand, understanding is the key to life. According to this text, if you have understanding, you have the keys to life. If you don't have understanding, you locked out and still outside and got to face death. 32 and 17. 33 and 17. If I said 32 and you went to 32, I'll give you a moment because it's Jeremiah 33 and 17. My apologies. Jeremiah 33 and 17. For thus saith Yahudah, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Yasharal. Notice, he said he'll never want a man. You know what Psalms 132 say. We went through it. You know what 2 Samuel 7 says. But that's another reason why we went through those genealogies. Because you see, there's a difference from those who are the seed of David, and there's a difference from those who are of the house of Yahudah. Just because you are of the house of Yahudah does not mean you are of a tribe of a king. That means you're just of the house of Yahudah. Neither shall the priest, the Levites, want a man from before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to sacrifice continually. And the word of Yahudah came unto Jeremiah, saying, thus saith Yahudah, if you can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, that there shall not be day or night in their season, may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne. So if Yahushua is excluded, then Yahudah has lied. And we know there's a lot of things that can happen, and Yahudah lying ain't one of them. And with the Levites, the priests, my ministers, as the host of Shamahim cannot be numbered, neither but the sand of the sea be measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Yahudah came unto Jeremiah, saying, consider you not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families which Yahudah have chosen, he have cast them off, thus have they despised my people, that there should be no more nation before them. Thus saith Yahudah, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will cause their captivity to return to have mercy on them. That means somebody of the seed of David got to sit on the throne. Come back over here to 1 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 15, so you can see a little something about a little something, so we can make sure that you got some good, strong understanding of this matter before we depart from talking about Jehoiakim, wicked behind. Now, make it verse 10. Because you're dealing with Solomon. We read about David's sons. You know Solomon is one of his sons of Bathsheba. So let's have the conversation. 1 Samuel 3 and 10, Solomon's son was Rehoboam, Abiah his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Joram his son, Azariah his son, Joash his son, Amaziah his son, Azariah his son, Jotham his son, Ahaz his son, Hezekiah his son, Manasseh his son, Amon, his son, Josiah, his son. And that's where we get to whom, because we mentioned Josiah already. That's where we get to where we need to be. And Josiah's sons, the firstborn, Yohanan, the second, Jehoiakim, the third, Zechariah, the fourth, Shalom. We just read about Shalom and how he was going to be killed. You about to see about Zechariah, but we're not going to go deep diving on Zechariah this evening. You got Yohanan and then you got Jehoiakim. Now look where it stops. It doesn't mention the other brothers. It goes straight into the sons of Jehoiakim. The sons of Jehoiakim, Jeconiah his son, Zechariah his son. So now you mentioning the Jeconiah or the Coniah who you just read about in Jeremiah, who said he's not sitting on that throne. He said that's not going to happen. See, what Stanley got confused at when we were discussing it is you see two Zechariahs. See, you have that Zechariah who's the son of Josiah, and then you got Zechariah who is the son of Jehoiakim. Two different men. Two different men. And as I mentioned y'all before, many names are common, and something that was done in ancient times that may not be done as often in current times is that brothers would name their sons after their brothers. So nephews would be named after their uncles. That is something that does not happen regularly in modern times, that a man would name his nephew after his brother, or his son after his brother. That was done quite frequently in the ancient world because some names were just kept in the family. You know what I'm talking about? It is very, see, most of the time you'll see people, name a child, give a child, because they didn't have middle names. You'll give a child a middle name of a family relative, But in ancient times, especially amongst our people, a man very well could name his son right after his oldest brother, youngest brother. You know what I'm talking about? Not just after daddies or granddaddies, but literally their siblings. Literally their siblings. Happen quite often. Come over here to Matthew chapter 1. I know it might sound weird to us, but it happened a lot. Let's take a look at this Matthew 1. Pick this up at verse 7. You could make it 6. Get straight to the point. Jesse begat David the king. David begat Solomon of Uriah. Solomon begat Jeroboam. Jeroboam begat Abiah. Abiah begat Asa. Asa begat Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat begat Joram. Joram begat Uzziah. So Uzziah begat Jotham. Jotham begat Achaz. Achaz begat Ezekiel. Ezekiel begat Manasseh. Begat Ammon. Ammon begat Josiah. Josiah begat Eunuchus and his brethren about the time that they were carried away to Babylon. So now you get the firstborn son that was mentioned. Now come over here to Luke as forth as when it mentioned Josiah. Now come to Luke. You see a little divergent information in Luke than you're going to see over here in Matthew. Luke chapter 3. Pick this up about verse 29. Which was the son of Joe, which was the son of Eliezer, which was of Joram, which was of Matthias, which was of Levi, which was of Simeon, which was of Yahudah, which was of Joseph, which was of Johanan, which was of Eliakim, which was of Meliah, which was of Menan, which was of Matthias, which was of Nathan, the son of David. Now, you don't see Solomon's name mentioned. Let's take a look at something real quick. Like, oh boy, these niggas finna be texting back to back. They say it's what you call it, Black Friday. Come around here and kick it with me. Now, when you see this Eliakim, this is not the Jehoiakim who you read about. This is a different man. I want you to know that that's a different man. That's not the same man. Now, I think y'all read about Nathan in chapter 3 earlier, but let me tell you who Nathan is. If you're not familiar, I lost my place. I apologize. Now, Nathan, come over to back to 1 Chronicles 3. Of course, it was one of the sons that he had with Bathsheba. Either way it go, he's still a seed of David. And that's one of the things that you had to realize. Even though Nathan didn't sit on the throne, doesn't change that he was a seed of David. As long as you're a seed of David, you're good. You're still considered to be a king, whether of the kingly tribe, whether you sat on the throne or not. I know most of us may look at it and say, well, if he ain't sit on the throne, he don't count. And that's not necessarily the case, because it doesn't matter if you sat on the throne or not, you of that seed. 1 Chronicles chapter 3. Matter of fact, we're not going to find that in 1 Chronicles chapter 3. We might have to go back over here to actually in Samuel. Or in Chronicles in that regard. Oh, I overlooked it. There we go. 1 Chronicles 3 and 5. These were born unto him in Jerusalem, and Shimea, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon, 4 of Bathsheba, and the daughter Amiel. And of course, this is referenced again in 1 Chronicles 14. So let's look at it over here. So you can see that also, 14 and 1. Now Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, timber of cedars, with masons, carpenters to build him a house. David perceived that Yahudah had confirmed him Malach over Yasharal, for his kingdom was lifted up on high, because of his people Yasharal. David took more wives at Jerusalem. David begat more sons and daughters. Now these were the names of sons which he had in Jerusalem: Shemua, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon, Ibihar, Elishua, Eliphat, Nogab, Nephag, Jephiah, Elishama, Belida, and Eliphalet. So you see Nathan get mentioned again. This is one. Notice that they don't really even talk about or focus on any of his sons that he had with Abigail or anyone else, just the ones that he had with Bathsheba. You want to know why? Ask Yahudah, because I can't answer that for you. So come on back over here to the book of Jeremiah. Yeah, I wish I had an answer for you on that, but I do not. Come over here to Jeremiah 36. Because some of this stuff we might reach back on the Sabbath, because there's a lot more come into Jehoiakim. I say he's a very evil man. That boy was wilding out here on these streets. But I want you to get to this monkey component, and then we'll take ourselves back around. Jeremiah 36. And also, if you don't realize this here, let me mention this now because it's still relevant to the matter that we're talking about. Because, we were talking about from Abraham to David and from David to Babylon, and us talking about Jehoiakim is getting us to Babylon. Because after Jehoiakim is removed, Zechariah takes over. When Zechariah takes over, we go into Babylon. Because remember, Jeremiah has the book of Lamentations of Jeremiah, because that was his prophesying was during the time of when we went into Babylon. So it still keeps us on the timeline that we've been following, which is 14 generations from Abraham to David and 14 generations from David to Babylon. And we're about to get ready to go into Babylon. Jeremiah 36:1. And it came to pass in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, Malach of Yahudah, that this word came unto Jeremiah from Yahudah, saying, take you a roll of a book and write therein all the words that I've spoken against Yasharal, against Yahudah. And speak against all the nations from the day that I spake unto you, from the days of Josiah even unto this day. It may be that the house of Yahudah will hear all the evil which I purpose to do unto them, that they may return every man from his evil way, that I may forgive their iniquity and their sin. You got to understand, son, if your forefathers ain't turned from their evil way and they had prophets prophesying directly from Yahudah, I don't know how y'all think niggas going to do it now, and they ain't getting no prophecy directly from Yahudah. Just men preaching the word of Yahudah straight out the book, a book which they believe belonged to the white man or his fairy tale. I don't think y'all really see how many men, because I would expect it from women, but how many men believe that this book is a book of fairy tales, allegory, which is not meant to be taken seriously, and that nobody of any rational intelligence should deal with it at all. In a group I'm in, a brother say, I know why y'all don't like God, because he the only ones who got rules and regulations, and you would rather deal with intellect and science because there's no rules and regulations. And he really said that's a sign of low character. You got to understand something. That's why people don't like Yahudah, his rules and regulations. You can't serve Yahudah and do what you want. That's why people don't want to do it. That's why people don't want to do it. Y'all thinking that if we come up, you know how dumb you got to be to think economics gonna make a nigga believe in Yahudah? If money gonna make a nigga believe in Yahudah, you know they gonna follow Satan, boy. It take a job and a house for you to trust in God. You can't be serious and think that's gonna work. You know what I'm talking about? Dude be like, man, the Muslims be getting people. That don't mean them niggas believe in Allah. Just like that man said in John chapter 6. You didn't come because of the miracles. You became because of the loaves and because you were fool. That man said, don't labor for the meat that perish, but labor for the meat that endure the everlasting life. Man, that only reason people gonna come because you got jobs and money. They ain't coming because they love the word, and you a real dummy if you think anything of it. You ain't been around enough people to know human behavior to think somebody really gonna love Yahudah because you gave them a job and somewhere to stay. That ain't gonna move their heart, man. That's a benefit. They coming for how you benefiting them. They not coming because of what you got, because the minute you can't benefit them no more, they gone. They gone. And I know people don't like to hear that because you want to believe that you're loyal. You want to believe people care about you. You want to believe your wife love you and all that there and the third. Stop benefiting people and see how quick they stay around. You know what I'm talking about? That's a harsh reality of adulthood that most people don't want to accept. That's why CeeLo said a long time ago that he kind of liked being poor. Because you say, at least I know what my friends here for. Because you ain't got nothing and you know what people around you for. But when you can be a value and a benefit, then you're just going to have to be honest with yourself that if the value and benefit cease, these people are going to cease and desist from dealing with you. It's only a small, scant group of people that's going to be able to deal with you, and you can't benefit them. Not in the way that they want to be benefited. I know you don't like to hear it because you want the people to believe that people love and care about you for you. Well, you better get out that delusion and deal with reality and understand that people are only going to love you for as much as you can do for them. And that's just what it is. Very few people going to love you for you because most people ain't going to take the time to know you for you because they don't give a damn. I'm talking about to the men. Most people don't want to get the time to know you as a man. They don't care about who you are as a man. They don't care about what you stand for. They don't care about your ideals. They don't care about your character. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your pain. They don't care about none of that. Nigga, what can you do for me today? And y'all wonder why niggas be killing themselves. And all these women be out here complaining. You wouldn't want to be a man. Y'all think, see, paying bills and going to work don't mean you know what it's like to be a man. You have no idea what it's like for nobody to give a damn about what you're dealing with. Don't nobody care. Give me some more, nigga. You got to figure it out today. Nobody cares. Especially when you look like us. You're the most hated man on the face of the planet. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody despises you, even your own woman. That's a sad state of affairs. Your kids don't respect you. And no matter what you do, it's never good enough, and you can never give enough. You know what I'm talking about? And y'all think niggas just supposed to be around, and then you be wondering, niggas be smiling and all that these niggas be stressed out. You wonder why a lot of these dudes get high. You wonder why a lot of these dudes angry. You wonder why these dudes be killing themselves. You wonder why these dudes get drunk. You wonder why dudes is whoremongers. Man, they doing anything to release that stress. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't even know how to measure their manhood. They have no idea. But y'all don't hear it, though. Y'all just think it's a game and it's just talk. Because these things, and I'm just telling you this here, ladies, because your man not going to tell you that. Don't look for him to tell you that. He ain't going to tell you that because you ain't going to understand what to do with it anyway. You ain't going to know what to do with that anyway. So don't try to seek back and understand it. Just do your job. You know what I'm saying? Just do your job. Make his life easier. When we talk making life easier, meaning be a soft, dainty, pleasant individual. Because he got to deal with enough already. You ain't got to deal with nothing. You ain't got to deal with nothing. Because I've told you this many a day. Ain't a woman on this planet a threat to anyone. She's not a threat. Ain't nobody seeking to kill you and to destroy your ability to lead and guide your family. Sad part is we destroy our families from within. It ain't just got to be people within your four borders or your walls. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about people who look like you. We destroy our families from within and wonder why you in the state that you're in. Doesn't make no sense. Jeremiah 36:4. Then Jeremiah called Baruch, the son of Neriah. Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of Yahudah, which he had spoken unto him upon a roll of a book. Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, shut up, I cannot go into the house of Yahudah. Therefore go you and read in the roll, and which you have written from my mouth, the words of Yahudah in the ears of the people in Yahuwah's house upon the fasting day. And also you shall read them in the ears of all Yahudah that come out of their cities. It may be they will present their supplication before Yahudah and return everyone from his evil way. For great the anger and fury that Yahudah pronounced against this people. Baruch, the son of Neriah, did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the book of the words of Yahudah in Yahuwah's house. It came to pass in the 5th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, the Malach of Yahudah, in the 9th month, they proclaimed a fast before Yahudah to all the people in Jerusalem and to all the people that came from the cities of Yahudah unto Jerusalem. Then Baruch read in the book of the words of Jeremiah in the house of Yahudah in the chamber of Genariah, the son of Shaphan, the scribe, in the higher court at the entry of the new gate of Yahuwah's house, and to the ears of all the people. When Micaiah, the son of Jeremiah, the son of Shaphan, heard out of the book of all the words of Yahudah, then he went down into the king's house, into the scribe's chamber. Lo, all the princes sat there, Elishama the scribe, Delaiah the son of Shemaiah, Elathan the son of Akabor, Jeremiah the son of Shaphan, Zechariah the son of Hananiah, and all the princes. Then Micaiah declared unto them all the words which he heard when Baruch read the book in the ears of the people. Therefore all the princes sent Yahudah the son of Nethaniah, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Cushai, under Baruch, take in your hand the roll which you have read in the ears of the people, and come. So Baruch the son of Neriah took the roll in his hand and came in unto them. And they said unto him, sit down now and read it in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears. Now it came to pass, when they heard all the words, they were afraid, both one and another, and said unto Baruch, we shall surely tell the king all of these words. They asked Baruch, saying, tell us, how did you write all these words in his mouth? Baruch answered them, he pronounced all the words unto me with his mouth. I wrote them with the ink in this book. That takes you back to nothing is of any private interpretation, but Kadash man spake as they were moved by the Ruach HaKadosh, if you were wondering. Nevertheless, then said the princes unto Baruch, go hide you and Jeremiah, and let no man know where you be. They went into the king, into the court, and they laid up the roll into the chamber. Elishama the scribe, and told all the words in the ears of the king. So the king sent Yahudah to fetch the roll. He took it out of Elishama the scribe's chamber. Yahudah read it in the ears of the king and in the ears of all the princes which stood beside the king. Now the king sat in the winter house in the 9th month, and on the hearth burning before him. It came to pass that when Yahudah read 3 or 4 leaves, he cut it with a penknife, cast it into the fire that was on the hearth, until all the roll was consumed in the fire that was on the hearth. See, we didn't talk about this matter before. I give it brief. Yahudah willing, we'll come back and precept it out in more detail. As he began to read it, he cut it with a penknife, or the crucifixion of Mashiach, because he is the roll, he is the word of Elohim, and he was cast into the furnace of the fire of affliction. Yet they were not afraid, nor rent their garments, neither the king nor any of his servants that heard all those words. Just like you read earlier, the people were not afraid. They did not care. They did not mourn when they said, crucify him, crucify him. Nevertheless, Elnathan and Delaiah and Jeremiah made intercession to the king that he would not burn the roll, but he would not hear them. And they played the role of Pilate. But the king commanded Jamil the son of Hamlech, Zeriah the son of Azareel, Shelemiah the son of Abedil, to take Baruch the scribe, Jeremiah the prophet, but Yahudah hid them. Then the word of Yahudah came to Jeremiah after the king had burned the roll, and the words which Baruch wrote out the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, take you again another roll, resurrection from the dead, and write it in all the former words that were in the first roll, which Jehoiakim the Malach of Yahudah had burned. And you shall say to Jehoiakim the king of Yahudah, thus saith Yahudah, you have burned this roll, saying, why you have written therein, saying the king of Babylon shall certainly come and destroy this land, and shall cause you to cease from thence man and beast. Now again, you're looking at an individual, he heard the words, and he just threw away the roll and burned it. Didn't mean nothing to him. Therefore, thus saith Yahudah of Jehoiakim Malach of Yahudah, he shall have none to sit upon the throne of David. His dead body shall be cast out in the day to the heat, and the night to the frost. And I will punish him and his seed and his servants for their iniquity, and I will bring upon them, upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and upon the men of Yahudah, all the evil that I have pronounced against them, but they hearkened not. Then took Jeremiah another roll, gave it to Baruch the scribe, the son of Neriah, and wrote therein from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the book which Jehoiakim Malach of Yahudah had burned with the fire, and there were added besides unto them many like words. So I say, Yahudah willing, we'll come back and precept this stuff out. But verse 37, I read all of that for a reason, because you needed to know it. Look at verse 1 of chapter 37, and this is all you need to know. King Zedekiah, son of Josiah, reigned instead of Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, made king in the land of Yahudah. Uh-oh. You remember when we read in 1 Chronicles chapter 3 that Josiah had a certain amount of sons? Well, let's look at it again. See, he skipped a man. That's why you see that in that Chronicles. Someone was skipped. Because he said Jehoiakim won't sit on the throne. He didn't allow his son to sit on the throne. That man meant what he said, and he said what he meant, and he did exactly what he was going to do. Come over here to 1 Chronicles 3 and 15. Well, you could start at 3 and 14. Ammon, his son, Josiah, his son, and the sons of Josiah, the firstborn Johanan, the second Jehoiakim, the third Zechariah, the fourth Shalom. And the sons of Jehoiakim, Jeconiah, his son, Zechariah, his son. You see, he skipped Jeconiah because Jehoiakim had been removed, and Jehoiakim, once he was removed from the throne, the brother behind him, Zechariah, sat on the throne. And this is how Yahushua is still able to come through, because Zechariah is the son of Solomon, and Solomon is the son of David, and the covenant is preserved, and the word of Yahuwah is faithful and has not been broken. See, if you hear somebody say Yahushua can't sit on the throne because of Jehoiakim, it doesn't matter. Again, chapter 37, verse 1. And King Zechariah, son of Josiah, reigned instead of Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, who Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon made king in the land of Judah. Neither he nor his servants, nor the people of the land did hearken unto the words of Yahudah, which he spake by the prophet Jeremiah. And Zechariah the king sent Jekul, the son of Shelemiah, and Zephaniah, a son of Messiah, the priest, the prophet of Jeremiah, saying, pray now unto Yahudah our Elohim for us. So we say hallelujah for Yahushua the word right there. We just had to talk about Jehoiakim, because if we didn't, we would have did what we were supposed to do. And we're about to approach from the completion of the 14 generations from David, and us about to enter in Babylon. Zechariah is the last step in entering into Babylon. He's the last step of entering into Babylon. And then after that, once we start looking at that, we'll look at stuff from Babylon to get us to when Mashiach arrived. But I know a lot of y'all not familiar with that, but that's a quote unquote non-messianic tactic. They'll say, see, Jehoiakim, he said nobody will sit on his throne, but then they neglect to read how Yahudah handled that. He just skipped that son and gave it to the next one. That son was removed from the throne, and he put Zechariah on the throne. Zechariah is the son of Josiah. Zechariah is not a son of Jehoiakim. So therefore, nothing is stopped. Everything is continued, and the word of Yahudah is faithful as it always been. But hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I appreciate y'all time. Bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Yahudah willing, we'll pick it up on the Shabbat and make it do what it do. Yahudah willing till that time, I bid you adieu. I need to adjust the time on this. I still ain't adjust the time on this watch yet.